All right, we're back with another pick'em video. It is Tuesday, February 25th in the NBA. We have a nice 7-game slate, so kind of a sweet spot in terms of not too many games, not too few games. And a couple of these games obviously really fun. The Lakers and Mavericks game, I think everyone will be tuning into with Luka going up against his old team. Obviously, a bunch of injuries going on there. AD won't be active, but yeah, some good games on the slot on the slate here, and definitely some plays that I'm liking. So I'm gonna go over at least 4. If I find a 5th play in that Lakers and Mavs game, I'll mention that in this video as well. I just haven't found anything just yet. But yeah, I'm going to go through the plays I'm liking. Also talk about a few leans. But before that, we do go over the recap. We do go over the injury news each and every day. Any teams on a back-to-back, there's only one, so I'll mention that. But that's just so you guys know who's playing. Potential guys that might be getting boosted minutes, might be getting less minutes for a guy returning on injury. I always like to start off the video doing that. If that's not your thing, though, obviously just fast forward through it. I don't want you to bore you through that, but I do know a lot of people do like that, so that's why I include it to start things off. So if you're new around here, definitely go ahead and subscribe. Leave the video a like, comment something down below. It tells YouTube to push this thing out there a little bit more. I have been uploading a little bit later in the day the past few days because of the kind of weirdness since the All-Star break. I haven't been doing very well. I know a couple guys in the industry haven't been doing very well. So it's just been a hard thing to read. And I am going to start off the recap going over the teams that played yesterday and who was like their leading scorers. It's not just us. It's not just me. It's not just, other people. The NBA is a little bit weird right now, and it's going to get into a nice rhythm, again, over the next month or so. But as of right now, since this All-Star break came across, or ended, I guess, it's been a little wacky. So we're going to go over the recap. I'll talk about the teams yesterday that played, and then we'll go over into the injury news, and then we'll talk about some plays. I'll try to speed through this. All right, so jumping over to the recap from yesterday, something I wish I had just brushed over, like a couple other YouTube channels. But we go over the recap. Doesn't matter how good or bad we did. The best bets, 1 and 2 day. Josh Giddey was our one hit. If you want to spin this as a positive, absolute domination. He crushed that line, I think, by halftime almost. Nikola Jokic, though, on the other hand, only 2 rebounds at halftime. A lot of balls just not bouncing his way in the second quarter, or in the second half of that game. He ended up getting 7, so would have been on track, but again, maybe a bad read against a center that likes to shoot threes. But at the same time, I just think, some balls didn't bounce his way. And the Pacers shot a lot better than I thought they were on that back-to-back set. Nick Claxton over his fantasy score, kind of did a little bit of everything. I did like his blocks and steals, his blocks, his potentials for steals, whatever that might have been. That's why I went to fantasy score. You never see me go to fantasy score, so obviously I was looking in those blocks and steals, which I don't typically do all too much. Maybe I should have just played it that way because he had 2 steals and a block, which would have got over the blocks and steals line, but didn't do enough of everything else. He had been playing well, just didn't do that very well yesterday. In terms of leans, I did order these yesterday in terms of my top favorites, and the top 3 hit. So again, kind of trying to spin this as a positive. Dyson Daniels crushed his line. Jaden McDaniels crushed his line. Donovan Clingan had 12 rebounds. So that was good. But the leans on the other side of things, the bottom 4 leans here, none of them came through. Anthony Edwards, he'll be one of the guys I talk about when I go through the games and the team scoring. They came back and beat the Thunder. They were down by 25. They went to overtime. Anthony Edwards had 17 points in that game. So it was a weird day of the NBA. Tyler Hero, how about 11 points on a 26.5 line and a great matchup. Kobe White didn't end up starting the game for some reason. Had like a face or something, a laceration. I didn't actually see, but I was confused why he didn't start. Then ended up coming in. Didn't get there in a blowout situation. They absolutely crushed the 76ers, and then Cam Johnson had 16 points, I'm pretty sure, for the entire game. But only ended with 16 points there, 20.5 points. He didn't get there. So again, trying to spin it as positive as much as possible. We got a good read on Josh Giddey. Great reads on the top 3 leans. But the NBA continues to be weird, and that's what we're going to go into right now. I'm not trying to make excuses. I guess this whole next part of the video is going to be pretty much me making excuses, but just tread lightly in the NBA as of right now. All right, so I went ahead and actually typed out the weirdness of the NBA, and I did talk about it for the last 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to put that part at the end of the video just so we can start getting into the injury news and actually talk about some plays. So if you're interested in me talking about the weirdness of the NBA yesterday and what it's been like kind of the last few days, go to the end of the video and you'll be able to see that. But I'm not going to bore you guys with that if you're not interested in it. So let's get into the injury news, and then we'll just start talking about some plays for today. All right, so jumping into the injury news, we're going to go through this quickly. First of all, the only team on a back-to-back is the Charlotte Hornets, so just keep that in mind. This is a 16.5-point spread. Mark Williams probably going to play in this one. He didn't play yesterday, so I'd expect him to play, but again, 16.5-point spread. Maybe a game you want to just stay away from anyway. For Boston and Toronto, no Drew Holiday, so definitely a big boost for some of these guys. Also, no Luke Cornett. Kata and Tillman, I assume, to get more minutes, especially if Al Horford sits. He's a game-time decision. For Toronto's side of things, Grady Dick is going to be a game time decision, but probable. Jakob Poeltl, I think, has missed a few games. He's going to be a game time decision. Obviously, no Ingram hasn't played for this team, but everyone else, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett quickly, should be good to go. Cleveland, Darius Garland, still a game time decision. He missed last game, so got to see if he's going to play in this one, especially because it's going to be a defensive-minded game, probably 222.5. It's actually kind of high for the Orlando Magic, but Suggs continues to be out. This could be a very defensive game, I would expect. For the San Antonio Spurs, Bassey is going to be the only guy out for that team. For the Pelicans, Boston, the only guy out for that team. Milwaukee, Giannis is going to be a game-time decision. Probable, though, should be ready to go. Still no Bobby Portis for this team, so that could be a huge usage boost for some of these other guys. I think Brook Lopez is definitely a good spot to look at his points, his scoring potential. It's not the best scoring potential for spot-up shooters, but for Houston, he did have a really good scoring against them last time. We'll talk about that when we talk about some leans for today. As for the other side of things, Fred VanVleet is going to be a game-time decision. He could be returning. He's missed the last 6 or 7 or 8 games. And then obviously Jabari Smith Jr. is back. Cody Zeller are going to be out for this team. Brooks and Tate also game-time decisions for the Rockets off the bench. For the Phoenix Suns, really no injury news to talk about. For the Memphis Grizzlies, really no injury news to talk about. We talked about the Hornets. For the Warriors, looks like Kuminga's still out. Trace Jackson-Davis is going to be a game-time decision, but they got their starters locked and loaded. Dallas, you can also see the projected minutes here. A couple guys projected for a lot. Jimmy Butler, Curry, Draymond, and Podziemski all over the 30-minute mark. Just be careful with the 16.5-point spread there. For Dallas and the Lakers, this is the game of the night, obviously. PJ Washington game time decision as of right now, but I would expect him hopefully to get out there and play. No Davis, no Lively, no Gafford, all the big men, no Powell, all the big men for the Dallas Mavericks still out. We've seen that for the past few days now. And then for the Lakers side of things, LeBron James is probable. He will go ahead and play. All right, so let's start talking about some plays here. First of all, we're going to be using a tool called Props Madness like we always do. If you're watching this video and you're like, I got to try this thing out, you totally can. Use my link in the description down below. You're going to get a 7-day free trial using my code RICH. You'll also get a 25% off your first month or your first year. Again, code RICH, link in the description down below for Props Madness. It's an awesome tool, and I'm going to let it do the video do the speaking for me because it has so many features and things like that you'll be able to see how powerful it is. We're going to start off with Derek White here. 23.5 PRA is the way I'm going to play him. Obviously, he had a huge rut in a lot of these games back in January. He was not doing well. He's really back to what we expected from Derek White at the beginning of the year. If I really zoom this whole thing out and see the beginning of the year, he was an absolute guy that could score the ball, could rebound the ball, could assist the ball early on in the year, and then just really went through a rut, which is why I still think we're getting a discount on his lines. His points line is only at 14.5. His PRA, 23.5. Obviously, some injury news for the Celtics as well. But again, I think we're getting this discount because of this horrible streak that he had. His minutes were low in that one. He's projected with 35 minutes in this game against the Raptors. It's an 11-point spread. There's a lot of reasons I'm liking this one. So let's start making this graph look a whole lot better, even though 66% hit rate already looking pretty good. The last 20 games or so, it hasn't looked as amazing. 55% hit rate over the last 25 games, but we can make this look a whole lot better. First of all, let's do the minutes. He's projected for 35 minutes in games. He's seeing 32 plus minutes is over in 76% of games, 32 to 38 over in 79% of the last 25 games. That's awesome to see right off the bat. Next up, no Drew Holiday in this one. Does he get a boost? Absolutely does. Over in 8 of 11 games without Drew Holiday. Love to see that. Next thing I want to look at is they're projected to win this game. Is he a big part of wins? Does he get lost in the shuffle of wins? No, he's a huge part of wins. 10 point plus victories. He's over in 72% of those. 15-point plus, he's over in 68% of those. Even 20-plus games, he's over in 60%. So the Celtics been playing really well. The Raptors have kind of kept these games close, other than one game where they won by 50-plus. But yeah, he's had pretty good success in games that they've even won by a whole bunch. Again, 11-point spread for this one, so 10-plus is probably a better thing to look at. Still over in 72% of these games. How about 10-plus point victory without Drew Holiday? Over in 83% of these games. So all these different types of things I'm looking into for a guy like Derek White. Looking really good considering his minutes, considering the injuries for this team. No Drew Holiday, obviously a little bit more usage for a guy like D. White. And the fact that he's coming back into form, really, really liking this spot for him. Next up, we'll just quickly go over the matchup because this line's so low that I love it even more for Derek White he could score 24 points just by itself, especially with the matchup like this. Spot up, 21st. Pick and roll ball handling, 21st. Transition, they're about mediocre. Free throws, they give up a whole bunch. So pretty much any way Derek White scores the ball, it's either a good matchup, great matchup, or a mediocre matchup at best For people that play similarly to him, this includes, Bogdanovich, Trent Jr., Pritchard, Trent Jr. again, Pritchard, all these guys over in 6 of 8 games. So not the best in terms of the amount of data we have on this, but good to see that guys have been playing well against this Raptors team. Just really liking this spot for Derek White. I still think these lines are discounted from the play that we saw back in December, at the end of December and the beginning of January. But he's right back on track, and without Drew Holiday, should get the time. I think he's going to knock down some shots. You can see his 3 points line is at 2.5, very favored to go over. I bet if I looked at this graph to see games that he's making 3+ threes, which the books are liking, he's going to be over this PRA line in a whole bunch of these, 84%. So really liking Derek White, really any way you slice it. Great matchup, no Drew Holiday against a weaker team. I'm liking Derek to get the job done here for us. Moving along to the next play here, it's going to be Jose Alvarado for the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, this might not be a popular play, but he's expected to play a ton of minutes. I should have probably had this pulled up. But we can see the New Orleans Pelicans, obviously no DeJounte Murray anymore, no Brandon Ingram on this team. And he's projected for 30-plus minutes in this game, which I love to see. And we've seen him get a 30-plus minutes the past few games, but also recently against this team. The Spurs was the last team they played. They played them 2 days ago. He had 12 points. He also chipped in with 8 assists, and he had 9 rebounds. So I don't hate his scoring potential here. You can see the chart right here. Spot up, yeah, it's not the best in the world, but pick and roll ball handler, that's where they're really weak. Similar types of players have been scoring well against him. Above the break threes, that's where he's going to get a whole bunch of his shot volume. Above the break threes, that's 54% of his shot volume. That's a really weak spot for them. So I don't hate his scoring potential here at all. But the way I landed on this was going to be his rebounds and assists line. This is juiced on some books, but DraftKings has this it was minus 115 a second ago. Minus 125, I'll take that any day of the week. 8.5 rebounds and assists. The first thing I want to look at here in terms of what's going on is, how about games without Brandon Ingram, without DeJounte Murray? He's over this in 62% of those games, including 5 of the last 6 games. The one game he missed was against the Thunder. That's a really hard matchup for a guy like Alvarado, undersized guard, going up against a very bigger team in terms of guard depth and really good defensive team. That's a tough matchup for him. They lose this by 36 points. He has 23 minutes in that game. But every other game looking really, really good. 3 games against the Kings, 1 against Dallas, and then 17 rebounds and assists just 2 days ago against this same Spurs team. So why do I like this? I like this specifically because of the minutes, but obviously the injuries that are happening to this team. Minutes, I'm going to go very, conservatively and do 26 to 35 minutes, 76% hit rate. If you want to do 4 on each side of the 30 projected, this is an 80% hit rate. So really like what I'm seeing here. He's been assisting the ball extremely well. He's been rebounding in some of these games extremely well, specifically against this Spurs team, which allows the 27th or ranks 27th in terms of rebounds allowed. That's why I kind of like the combo line here. But obviously the hit rate is great. You could look at points. He's definitely sometimes absolutely going off. I'm assuming these are games that he's knocking down his threes. He's got a great matchup to knock down some threes. So you could go to his points. You could look at his PRA. But the best hit rate for me, and the one that I'm landing on, is going to be his 8.5 rebounds and assists. That being said, if I find some value on any sort of PRA line, points line, I'll definitely be looking at Jose Alvarado, using DG Fantasy or something like that. If I find some value on Underdog or whatever it might be for Jose Alvarado, I don't mind going to him in all those different places. So I really like the minutes potential here. I love the matchup. We just had 17 against these guys. Rebounds allowed, they're 27th ranked. Assists allowed, they're 20th ranked. He just killed these guys in terms of this. He's going to get the time. Bunch of injuries for this team. I'm liking Alvarado in terms of rebounding, assisting, and if you want to throw in the points, I don't mind that either. And I do have one more play that I want to talk about for an official pick. I do also have a lean in this game that I want to talk about, and then I might look at the Lakers and Mavericks game just to get something going on in that one if I find an edge that I'm really liking, just to get you guys some action on the best game of the night pretty much. But I want to remind everyone, if you got to this point in the video, please like the video, comment something down below, subscribe if you are new, of course. You definitely check out the links in the description down below. You get deposit matches to a bunch of different DFS platforms. They're the platforms that I use in my Discord all the time. And whenever you use my code, I give you a free month of my Discord. So it's a win-win situation there. You're going to get the deposit matches or the promotion for being a new user using my code, but also you get that free month, which is awesome in the Discord community. You get access to all my plays, but also a community aspect on top of that, which is a whole lot of fun, being able to talk to like-minded people in sports, bounce ideas off each other. We have other people other than just me that send out plays in there as well. These guys are tried and true. They're my seasoned chefs. I appreciate all of them, but also other people share their slips. People are bouncing ideas off each other. It's a whole lot of fun, and might as well point out, it's Taco Tuesday. We got Jason Tatum Taco here going up against the Toronto Raptors. 18.5 points for Jason Tatum, Taco Tuesday on PrizePicks each and every Tuesday. So definitely check them out using code RichPicks if you're not on it already. But there's plenty of other platforms. Underdog, looks like we just missed our Counter-Strike play on Underdog. Underdog, Sleeper, Betr, Parlay Play, all those different types of platforms. They're in the description down below. And definitely check them out. It's a great way to get into the Discord community for free, but also a great way to take advantage of those new player promotions that they got going on. Then moving along to our last official video pick here, it's going to be Brandon Pajemski over his rebounds and assist line at 9.5. Pretty much available everywhere at 9.5. Also, someone just mentioned it might be his birthday today. If I can look up Brandon Pajemski, see his birthday. Yep, February 25th right here. So it is his birthday. This could be a little extra oomph for Brandon Pajemski, but I'm really liking this 9.5 rebounds and assists line. He's projected for 32 minutes. He's into the starting lineup now for this Warriors team. He's been playing really, really well alongside Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, and he's been playing a ton of time. So we can see his hit rate the last few games has been pretty good over this game, over in the last few games. So the hit rate recently has been okay on this, but really I'm liking the minutes potential. I like what he's been doing against this team. I like the fact that he's going up against a weaker matchup here. Rebounds allowed, assists allowed, both mediocre to a better matchup for a guy like him. Position ranked, I'm not going to look too far into, but it's also about a mediocre matchup. But yeah, let's just really look at the minutes here. Obviously, a guy that doesn't always get the right amount of time, but ever since the trade has happened, he's gotten 24 to 35 minutes pretty much in all of these games. He's projected for 32 minutes today. So I'm going to go to 28 to 36 minutes in this one. First of all, 28 plus minutes, he's over in 70%, which I love to see. But again, getting 4 on each side of the 32 projection, over in 66% of those games. In games even playing with Steph Curry, he's over in 75% of those games, which I love to see. And then also with Jimmy Butler in the lineup here, he's over in 3 of 4 of those matchups. So love to see that. With Steph Curry in games that they've won, they're projected to win this game by 16. He's over in 4 of those 5 games, so I like to see he gets an added boost from that. His assists are there, his rebounding is there. He kind of goes, he can go off in one or the other, which is why I like the combos line here. I'm not going to have to pick or choose one of them. He's a guy that can go out and grab 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rebounds even sometimes. He can guy that's chip in with 5, 6, 7 assists pretty consistently. And again, this is only a 9.5 line on his birthday. I think he's going to show out here. It is a big point spread, but again, they're on a back-to-back, this Charlotte Hornets team. Potentially more clanks off the rim for some more rebound potential. I think they're going to be a little bit slower potentially here. So Brandon Pajemski maybe diming up some guys in transition and things like that. So yeah, really liking Brandon here. I think he's going to get the time, 28 to 36 minutes, projected for 32. That's a pretty good range to look at. And in that amount of time, he's over this in 66% of games, which I like to see. He's been playing really well alongside Jimmy Butler, really well alongside Steph Curry as well throughout the year. So yeah, loving Brandon Pajemski here on his birthday over his rebounds and assists. And then lastly, might as well point out the fact that he's at home here. Looks pretty good. The only miss he had was back in October. Played 34 minutes in that one. But since then, even some tougher matchups, have been able to get this in this amount of time at home. Really liking this spot. Brandon Pajemski should come through for us today. And then in terms of some leans, I was definitely looking at Brook Lopez. This was at 10.5. Now it's at 11.5. Some books already have this up at 12.5. But he's been obviously really, really good lately. He's been scoring the ball well. He's been shooting the ball well. And Bobby Portis isn't in this one. Without Bobby Portis, he's suspended the next 24 games or whatever it is. Over in 66% of these games. So not a bad hit rate here. Now, in terms of the matchup, it's not the best in the world because they're really good at spot-up shooting defense. But guys like Brook Lopez just launch threes because they're huge up top. They can sling that thing. Kind of reminds me of Porzingis, but even Naz Reid, Mobley, Vucevic, these are guys that are similar types of players. They've been scoring pretty well against this Rockets team. And also potentially getting Fred VanVleet back. I don't know if that's the best thing for their defense, but Brook Lopez, I think, in a good spot to score the ball, even though the matchup's not there. I think he's going to get the shot volume. Games without Bobby Portis, I did look at the amount of shots he was getting. He's averaging like 11 shots per game. Field goals attempted. Yeah, 11.4 field goals attempted per game. If we just get rid of Bobby Portis' filter here and just look at times he's shooting, 9 to 13 times or something like that, 70% hit rate in those games. So if he's going to get the volume, I really like this spot for him, even though it's a tougher matchup. That's why it's more of a lean here at 11.5. And then a lean for some plus money here. Amen Thompson under his 4.5 assists. Now, he's been getting over this pretty consistently lately, but I'm going to roll the dice here and say that hopefully Fred VanVleet plays this one. If you're watching this and Fred VanVleet's ruled out, I probably wouldn't go to this, but even if he does play, I still like the potential for him to go under here. But with Fred VanVleet and Jabari Smith Jr. in the lineup, obviously the hit rate looks a lot better, only over this in 3 of the last 29 games. Now, some of these games he's not getting the amount of minutes that he's going to see tonight. So banking this up all the way to 30 to 42 minutes. I don't know how many minutes he's going to get. Still only over this in one game. In the one game he got over, he completed all of his potential assists, which was at 4, and somehow had 5 assists, which made me look into what a potential assist is. And a potential assist, by definition, is when you pass to a player and they dribble 1 time or less and then they shoot. So if they dribble twice, that gets rid of a potential assist, but you can still get assist in terms of like the discretion of the stat giver for that given game. So yeah, he converted all of them and got there once, but with Jabari Smith Jr., with Fred VanVleet, even in a whole bunch of time, which we're expecting from him tonight, I don't like this potential for him if Fred VanVleet does play, which is why probably I'm going to roll the dice on the plus money. In terms of the matchup, it's not the best in terms of going under, but I'm just going to go off the basis that with Fred VanVleet and Jabari Smith Jr. in the lineup, he doesn't get as much usage. Obviously, Fred might be on a little bit of a minutes restriction here, but yeah, I'm just going off the chart, some plus money, maybe more of a fun play here in Thompson. That's why it's a lean. That's why it's plus money. But I'd like in the potential here. And then in terms of this Lakers and Mavericks game, I want to get to something. I might add something in the pinned comment if I find something that I really like. But as of right now, I'm not loving anything right now. Obviously, Luka's probably going to be playing this team. He's not playing in Dallas, which I think will give it a little bit extra oomph, but he is playing his old team. There's a bunch of injuries for that team. No AD in this one. So yeah, it could be a good one. This is a 9-point spread. There's some blowout potential. So there's nothing I really, really love in this game as of right now. If I do find something, though, I will add it to the pinned comment down below. So just maybe keep an eye on that if I do go ahead and add something. Max Christie could be a fun guy to look at just because he's been really, really solid. The matchup here is very mediocre, but he was a throw-in this trade. No one really talks about that, but he's been playing extremely well since the trade happened. Did come off a bum game here against the Warriors, where he only scored 24 points. Sorry, he scored 2 points in 22 minutes in a 24-point loss. But other than that, very, very consistently over this line. But yeah, a whole bunch of injuries for this team. Is PJ Washington going to play? That's going to be big news for that. AD obviously out, Gafford out, Lively out. Whole bunch of injury news to go off of this one. So I want to get to something in this one. I want to give you guys a good play on this one. Maybe, Reeves threes is always a fun one for me, but they defend the 3-point line pretty well. So this is always plus money on the 3-point line for Reeves, but probably not something I want to look at. Yeah, I'll add something in the pinned comment if I do find something that I'm really liking, but I think that's going to do it for us in this one. I'll go over the recap real quick of the plays that I'm liking. All right, so the quick recap, the 3 official picks: Derek White over 23.5 PRA, Jose Alvarado over 8.5 rebounds and assists, and Brandon Pajemski on his birthday over 9.5 rebounds and assists. I also chipped in with some leans here. Brook Lopez over his 11.5 points in some plus money lean. Amin Thompson under 4.5 assists, which is plus money on a lot of these books. That's going to do it for me in this one. Again, like the video, comment something down below. Definitely go ahead and subscribe if you're new, and definitely check out the links in the description down below. Plenty of different ways to get some, free potential money here on the DFS platforms. As a new user, you're going to get deposit matches. You're going to get new user promotions, usually a free square on those by using my code, so check those out. Whenever you use my code on those, you also get a free month of my Discord community, so it's a win-win situation there. If you do, let me know in the comments down below, or join the free part of the Discord. That's the easier way. DM me or hit me up in the general chat and just say, hey, I use your code. I'd love to check out the community for a free month, and I'll go ahead and do that as quickly as possible, usually within that same day. So yeah, thanks for watching. Good luck with all your bets. If you want to stay tuned, I did record this earlier, so if you want to stay tuned, I just talked about the weirdness of the NBA yesterday for like 2 minutes or so that's going to be at the end of the video. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Good luck with all your bets. Peace out, and enjoy if you want to watch the weirdness of the NBA. All right, so I went ahead and typed this out. It's kind of just weirdness in the NBA from yesterday. At the end of it, just let me know in the comments if I'm crazy or something. This is literally all from yesterday. We're in a weird spot. This is me probably just making excuses at the same time, but it's a hard time to read the NBA, and I think this is going to kind of show you guys that. So we'll start off with Tyrese Maxey going up against the Chicago Bulls. Probably one of the best matchups in the entire league for Maxey to score points. No Joel Embiid in this one. The Bulls ended up winning by 32 points. Maxey had 13 points and 2 assists in 30 minutes in that game. Okay, could have been a bad game for Tyrese Maxey. Kobe White on the other side of things. He should be the main guy in that team without Vucevic, without Adesumu, Zach LaVine not there anymore. He was the 6th leading scorer behind Josh Giddey, Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, Buzelis, and Dalen Terry, who had 17 points. Literally the 6th leading scorer on that team in a blowout victory. Aaron Gordon led the entire Nuggets team in scoring. He had 25 points. Might have been a season high. Didn't check into it, but he doesn't score that much. He's been injured a lot of the season. Aaron Gordon, okay player. He can lead the Nuggets every once in a while, which is kind of weird that it all happened yesterday. The Heat scored 86 points against the Atlanta Hawks, who have probably the worst defense in the entire league, one of them. Tyler Hero in that game, 11 points. Bam Adebayo, 14 points. Obviously, they're not scoring a lot of points. Their guys aren't doing very well. But on the other side of things, Onyeka Okongwu and Terrence Mann lead the way for all scorers on the Hawks win. They win by 12 points. Trae Young, 11 points in that game. So it was a low-scoring game, but not a huge blowout. And when I see Terrence Mann leading scorers, I start to question my existence. Minnesota comes back from 25 points down against the Thunder. Awesome. How many points did Anthony Edwards have? 17, because that entire comeback came with Anthony Edwards on the bench. 131 points scored for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards only has 17 points in that one. Pretty much every Jazz starter ended up sitting this game out. Isaiah Collier, 4 assists. If you don't know his name, he's been a dime machine, especially without all these guys in the lineup. You expect his usage to be through the roof. Now, you could argue that he doesn't have as many guys to pass to that are good, but his usage should be through the roof. Only has 4 assists, and against the Blazers, who are pretty good defense, 2-point game. Ended up not getting a whole lot of time. Weird one for the Utah Jazz. They're a hard team to cap. And then lastly, maybe the least weird in the entire day, but still weird, Sabonis only scores 7 points in a 42-point victory over the Hornets. I think he played like 30 minutes in that one. Didn't shoot, didn't really have to, but yeah, 7 points for a guy that's a double-double machine. Another weird one. So maybe a whole bunch of excuses. Let me know in the comments down below. This all happened just yesterday. It's a weird time to cap the NBA for sure. But this is more for the people that don't really understand sports betting maybe, and they come here, we were on the huge run, and now they come here and we're on a little bit of a rut here. They can get discouraged very quickly. So I just want to reiterate the fact that it is a little bit more difficult to understand what's going to happen in the NBA, predict what's going to happen in the NBA. But like I keep saying, over the next few weeks, I think we are going to get a lot more consistency, and I think that's when we see, a big run from us once again. And I realized my mic was entirely across the room. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.